Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to all participants on the today's webinar, which is based on MSME Pathshala series. Topic is Andhra Pradesh State MSME Policy, and today is our uh, renowned speaker is CA Aditya Amar. I welcome to you, sir. Let me introduce about our today's faculty, CA Aditya Amar, sir. Sri Aditya sir has more than 10 years of experience in MSME advisory, compliance, financial structuring, and government incentive schemes. He provides specialized support in MSME developments, including project financing, risk structuring, leveraging state and central government incentives. He has actively assisted the MSME under various schemes like CGT, MSME, Startup India, State Industrial, and MSME policy. He is a frequent mentor and speaker for the MSME and startup on business structuring, tax planning, and compliances. He has regularly contributed to MSME related policy, insight, and taxation articles. He promotes the ICI, especially to ICI MSME ecosystem, uh, and he has providing hand holding support to all the MSMEs. Sir has also advocacy for the MSME and MSME interest on ICI committee and contribute to policy making and capacity building for the MSMEs. With this, I welcome to you, sir. Now I hand it over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the lovely welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm going to let me go through that AB MSME policies, how exactly the how the environment in the AP will work with respect to the MSMEs and how exactly the industrial environment. And there are to be noted down, there will be n number of approximately 16 to 17 number of schemes which has been policies which has been issued by the government of AP. In this background, we may not be able to go through each and every policy of it, but let's try to cover the key policies, and let's try to evaluate wherever the MSME schemes are there and over bird view level. So when it comes to the industrial infrastructure of AP, the government of Andhra Pradesh envisages the transforming the state into 2 to 4 billion trillion economy by 2047, which is in line with the Vikasit Bharat of 2047 government of AP, government of India. The strategic intent is to anchor in inclusive, innovation-driven, and sustainable development across the key sectors. These are the based on all these key factors, all the policies which has been drafted it up with respect to the Andhra Pradesh. So, so when the policies has been drafted as a base to accelerate the industrial growth through large-scale investments and positioning of AP as a global manufacturing and technological hub. So, which means which are having industrial estates, multimodal logistic parks, and MSME parks, and many parks which are coming into picture, and massive employment generation. AP government has targeted to generate approximately 20 lakh MSME jobs with respect to the 20 lakh employment generation within the next 5 years, kind of it. It might be that through various sectors like manufacturing, electronics, tourism, and other food processing, out of which majority of the target is from the MSME only. So world-class infrastructure development includes, it is having a policy to develop the industrial parks, ports, maritime boats. In maritime ports, we have IT hubs, global GCCs, we have policy into picture. We have policies on semiconductors. We have a policy on, say, display fab manufacturing. We have a policy on, tourism specifically. So we identified the tourism as a sector as well. So in addition to this, not only the ease of doing business and transparency, we also envisaged it on the APA government has also envisaged on upon the speed of doing business. In addition to the ease of doing business, they wants to make the things and approvals to be on a faster mode, so that people will be able to entrepreneurs will be able to come and invest in the Andhra Pradesh. So when it comes to it helps you in order to, with the help of ease of doing business and speed of doing it helps to foster the investors' confidence and the streamline the governance basically. And not only the approvals and governance part, it also wants to sustainability and innovation, not just a short-term kind of thing, with a focus on environment, on clean energy and circular economy and emerging the technologies. It also concentrates on more on emerging technologies, and it has a clean energy policy which is targeted to have a 20 GW of power generated through by 2030 through renewable energy sector and MSME entrepreneurship promotion. It also have an very famous, very ambitious policy of one family, one entrepreneur. The government of AP is targeted to have an one entrepreneur from each and every family of the population of Andhra Pradesh, so that it all helps us to transform the objectives of the government of AP into an actual mode. And it not only just have an entrepreneurship, it also helps through skill development by building up a pool. We have a global competition to build a global competitive pool, talent pool kind of it. We have a lot of education institutions. We have a lot of skill development centers. A lot of many things are happening over there. Only thing, we just need to come and ask how to start for it, so that we are there. AP government is there to support the kind of it. See, let us have an overview of the policies, number of policies which has been issued till date since last 1 year, along with their operational guidelines. So, if you see the example of the government of Andhra Pradesh, it has notified the set of policies like Andhra Pradesh plug and play industrial infrastructure policy, which concentrates on plug and play policy of plug and play infrastructure, which is much more needed for the MSMEs to concentrate more on their operations instead of constructing their kept buildings and other aspects. So which helps to have a common pool of infrastructure to get into the operation mode and a plug and play model. And it has an AP industrial development policy, AP MSME entrepreneurship policy and development policy. It has an AP food processing policy, textile and apparel policy, sustainable electrical mobility policy, which helps to construct, have the establishment which is ready to manufacture the electronic mobility vehicles. And it has an AP electronics manufacturing policy, which helps to identify, we already have a lot of electronic manufacturing investments in the Andhra Pradesh and Tirupati area. And they are trying to make it as a cluster, so that, they will be having a common pool of infrastructure over there to tap that opportunities with respect to that. We have an AP, IT and GCC policy and data center policy. So what it helps to identify is in order to have a global delivery centers, and it helps to have a data centers which has been available, which are having which is much needed with respect to the latest developments which are happening over there. It is obligated to have these kind of policies. So you name it, there are many policies which are coming into with respect to the new technologies or existing old kind of entrepreneurship, old kind of business which are happening. There are a lot of approximately 17 to 18 policies which has been came out, and operational guidelines for most of the policies has been rolled out. In each and every policy, they are given much more concentration on the MSME specifically. And in addition to that, because of the constraint of the time, we may not be able to go through the each and every policy of that. But overall level, we may be able to cover the key MSME incentives has been covered on an overall scale. Before getting into that policies kind of thing, let's have a view why to invest in the Andhra Pradesh, government of Andhra Pradesh. So when we get into the economic profile of the Andhra Pradesh, it is an vision and motto that transform Andhra Pradesh into an internationally competitive hub, integral into the global value chains and known for the product perfection. So which is nothing but to connect our industrial hubs to connecting it to the global value chains for a absolute product. And it also having a motto of reduce the cost of production and improve the speed of doing business. Based on these two things, all the policies has been developed. So reduce the cost of production by giving infrastructure, or by giving incentives, by giving the lands, by giving many other by having a proper skilled manpower, by deploying proper skilled manpower, or SGST reimbursements, or many other things which has been part of it. So when it comes to the other part of thing, why to invest in Andhra Pradesh, why only to in Andhra Pradesh? Because Andhra Pradesh is ranked as for ease of doing business multiple times in the last 10 years with respect to industrial growth. And it has a 3 industrial corridor, first among all the Indian states. We have Visakhapatnam, Chennai Industrial Corridor, Bangalore, Chennai Industrial Corridor, and there are multiple other industrial corridors as well. And it has most of the processes in Andhra Pradesh are digitalized and transparent approval systems only. And the policy pillars of all the policies are majority with respect to export promotion, and one family, one entrepreneur, and it should be a knowledge and innovation economy instead of manufacturing and other economy, and ease of doing business, reforms in digital governance, and tourism accorded. And tourism as an one is one of the other policy key factor where one of the state where it has given as a industrial status, and it has an economic stance of 14.39 lakh crore as GSDP and 11 CAGR and other policy. It has a strong base of agri and industrial and services as well. So when it comes to the policy framework, it enables the diversification in manufacturing base and expansion the market access to without compromising on the climate goals, which is in line with the sustainability aspects of it. And it also offers the competitive incentives for the business support. So when it comes to the sorry. So FDI in emergency, the policies which has been based out of Andhra Pradesh has been having the incentives which has been given as having an target mainly concentrate which are having an FDI in emerging sectors like position to make the AP as a premier FDI's destination of the in India, and foster partnerships with respect to 500 companies, top Fortune 500 companies, emphasis on the climate responsibility business development, and focus on tech transfer, skill development, and job creation. Not only just in franchisee model, we would like to have the tech transfer kind of. They are given separate support with respect to they would like to have the separate R&Ds with respect to the tech transfer and skill development and job creation kind of it. So with respect to only MSME, goal is to create and 5 lakh jobs in next 5 years and leverage qualified manpower and education base. We have a lot of education institutions across the Andhra Pradesh in each and every district of it. So in order to use that educational infrastructure as a base and skill up the manpower in order to use them as a qualified manpower for the across incoming and MSME industries across. And it also promotes the private sector in participating and participation skilling through AP skill development projects or central government projects, skill development project, anything. It has a target of 40 gigawatt renewable energy by 2030 by promoting alternative modes of power cities. And in order to say, we have a positive power supply kind of it. So encouragement of the innovation of the circular economy. It also have an industrial 4.4 revolution targets to have it up, which integrates AOI and IoT integration in manufacturing. And with respect to we also they would like to use the drones in respect to the services which has been used with respect to the day-to-day services. We have the specific drone policy which has been planned up into that. So in addition to all these things, we are planning to have the government of Andhra Pradesh is having an inland waterways development like interlink of rivers to enhance the cost-effective water transportation, because water transportation one of the cheapest way have to transport the goods and materials. It also has a lot of ports which is under green ports and existing terminals. Visakhapatnam, Krishnapatnam port. We have Kakinada port. There are many ports under construction in order to connect it across to the east. It also helps to generate new economy and employment opportunities. So it also aligned with in addition to all this, the DCIC, all the industrial corridors which is being constructed, which are near to the ports itself, which helps to have the industrial corridor development across the state. So integrates with the government of India's industrial initiatives, boost investment, production, and competitiveness, and also offer the complementary state level incentives. It's not only it also shifts to the focus of value addition to the local added products via GI added tagging, one nation, one product kind of it. It helps to strengthen the ecosystem and product diversification by product geotagging or the local procurement. So what about the natural advantages with respect to the location and all? So it is gateway of the Eastern India growth basically. So centrally positioned the India East, where it having 1,000 kilometers, approximately 1,000 kilometers of coastal line, and which is services like maritime trade and port-led development. So where they are ports are made as an anchors, and from there development will be made. So it has a rich in natural resources, which integrates our networks by Godavari, Krishna rivers, and we have a lot of amount of water resources which are available. Without having any drought, we are having interlinkages of rivers like Krishna is being linked with the Godavari, Godavari is linked with the Penna and other aspects which are having a continuous availability of the water, which is helpful for the industrial purposes. It also having 300 plus sunny days in a year, which is abundant to have a solar, wind, and pumped storage with respect to the power. So renewable power, energy power, which is one of the cheapest power which are available. So strategic connectivity of the ports, airports, industrial, we are having approximately each and every district of Andhra Pradesh is having an airport, and majority of the ports approximately already 4 existing ports, and 5 or 6 ports which are under greenfield ports. Approximately 9 to 10 ports which are there, and industrial corridors are also, which all makes the logistics and export powerhouse. So when it comes to the policy and ease of doing business, government is concentrated to do consistently ranked DPIT. Andhra Pradesh Mineral Policy streamlines the compliance with the digital tools, and it has a single desk portal integrated with respect to any kind of application. When it comes to the when you are filing for any permission, with the single portal itself, it helps to have a clearance with respect to all kind of permission, whether it be a pollution, whether it be a industrial approval, whether it can be any other kind of it helps to a single portal, single desk portal. It can be helpful for the all single desk clearances. Incentive framework. It also project-based incentive and concessions has been given. If there is any custom-based and support with respect to mega and strategic investment, they are ready to give it a customized support with respect to that. We also have the qualified manpower, which is a home for premier education, providing a skilled manforce and skill development focus on the APSSDC with emphasis on trying to meet the demands of the growing industry, which is in line where the majority of the manpower of India is not lacking it, where the majority of the states are lacking to have an industrial connect with respect to that. We're trying to get a connect with the industrial government industries to have a skilled manpower with respect to that. ITGCC encourages a continuous skill upgradation, leveraging a young dynamic workforce. It helps to have a remote workstation. In this policy, it helps to have a remote workstations, having internet connectivity to the remotest village of Andhra Pradesh. We are having internet connectivity with respect to the AP, with respect to AP state fiber net kind of it. And data centers, data availability of the skilled manpower is a key benefit for establishing a data centers in cities like Visakhapatnam, where lot of infrastructure is readily available. Sector specific advantage in Andhra Pradesh. See, if we why only invest in Andhra Pradesh with respect to the there are multiple. If you the one of the major strength of Andhra Pradesh is food processing. I mean agri business. So it has a diverse agricultural base. Wide variety of the crops are available to enhance the raw material availability. Like if you see one corner of Andhra Pradesh where we can have mangoes, cashews, and every part of it in with respect to Srikakulam and other areas. When it comes to Anakapalli and other areas, we can have Jagir. I mean to say sugarcane crop which are available. When it comes to Godavari basins, we are having a fruits, and again we will be having paddy and other procurements are also available. When it comes to the Araku, we will be having a coffee. Like this, if you go to get into each and every district, we are having each and every variety of basis of crops which are, if you can name it, when it comes to Andhra Pradesh, where West Godavari, we are having a largest cocoa production across the India. So it has where all the majority of the cocoa has been produced over here itself. So like this, we are having a multiple agriculture products as a wide variety of crops are available in the Andhra Pradesh, which helps to have an food easy to set up in food processing industry, for which availability of the raw materials is a key area, and in order to have a nearest connectivity to the being of the nature of the food products, the perishability and other nature, having the plant established which is nearer to the farm, that will help us to have an reduce the transportation cost, and it also helps the input time for processing the units. It also aims to have a commodity focused cluster to promote localized value chain with respect to that. And when it comes to the sector specific advantage in Andhra Pradesh, like they are targeting more on semiconductor and display fab. All the MI manufacturing which is happening in India, which is happening in the Andhra Pradesh in Tirupati itself. They are having an employment, their facilities which are approximately 20,000 employees, which has been sitting over there, which has been part of this manufacturing and in the Tirupati cluster itself. and data center. They are having a reliable energy power supply, uninterrupted. We are a power surplus state. So uninterrupted power supply with respect to dedicated substations, renewable energy integration, which has been given to the data centers, and high-speed fiber connectivity, redundant data paths, and these are one of the key having a common infrastructure over there. Government will allow the land banks in strategic zones with respect to the data center and single window clearances for all the approvals. With respect to the having this ITs, we all know Andhra people are very good in very good skilled IT force. With respect to strong technical education ecosystem and availability of support services in Andhra, and it will be easier for the data center to set up and go ahead with respect to that. So sector specific with respect to IT and GCC. So lower when it comes to tier 2 and tier 3 focus, it is like operating costs in Visakhapatnam and Vijayawada and Tirupati. If they are having like we are having an majority of the people belongs to Andhra Pradesh, they may not tend to move out of the over here itself. Which helps to have a drone corridors and hubs. Upcoming drone testing and production. So Andhra Pradesh is planning to set up a drone testing center of with respect to 300 plus acres of drone testing center, which helps to identify test. If you come out with an idea, government will give you an incentive. It helps to execute if it proves proof of concept it, and it also tested in the drone testing hub. And if it is viable, it will help you to deploy with respect to their own government services. So if you come out, you have to come out with an idea, proof of concept, they'll help you to test the same thing and get it executed. And there are incentives for testing of the proof of concept and other aspects, which will be discussed as a part of the drone policy and other aspects. And policy integrate not only integrates the only with respect, it also integrates with electronic and IT sectors in order to have a drone productions, and it also having support of the industry to artificial intelligence and with respect to smart logistics and automation in the manufacturing aspects. And in addition to this, all these things, we are having an sector-specific advantage in tourism, where Andhra Pradesh is focusing is on Vizag, Araku, Tirupati, Gandikota are like anchor destinations, and develop the areas with respect to the uh, industry tourism projects we in and in the specific areas, which is help us to have an in one of the major incentive which is given with respect to tourism is to have lease land based allotment in order to invest. See, in majority of the tourism project, having a land itself is a bigger cost. So government of AP is having lease land allotment and fast track clearances with respect to branding and infrastructure report, and it are having different policies with respect to wellness, MICE, cruise and ecotourism kind of it. So you can have it as an tourism as a policies, and people are ready to invest in respect to that. So when it comes to the MSMEs specifically, what exactly is available is that so when it comes to one family, if you see the MSME policy of Andhra Pradesh, it was having an objective to have a one family, one entrepreneur by 2030 as a vision overview with respect to the policy, which is part of the Swarnandhra vision of 2047 to promote and focus on creating culture of entrepreneurship and global thinking. Not only that one-time kind of activity, also promotes to have a culture of entrepreneurship and global thinking by to imbibe the entrepreneurship culture in each and every family of Andhra Pradesh. It has a policy backing, and it has a core driver as it is a core driver initiative with respect to all the policies, and it is integrated with respect with food processing policy, textile policy as well. It aims to have an IP MSME as a champion state with respect to the policies. So, what does policies of Andhra Pradesh, MSM guiding principles of MSMEs in Andhra Pradesh with respect to the policy, which says formulation of sector. So we all know MSME. Most of the MSMEs are unformalized. Basically, now it targets to have a formulation of all the sector in all the MSMEs in the sector, and to have a clean production. So which is in line with the sustainability goals. So have a more lean manpower and clean production to have it and to make it sustainable and make it as a value added product to the government to the industry. Integration with the global supply chain with a lot of port connectivities, we should have an it is having planning to have a lot of MSME parks, 175 plus parks. Government is planning to have it up as a MSME parks to each and every mandal of Andhra Pradesh, so that it helps to have a local entrepreneurship, local availability of the manpower over there itself to develop and encourage the manpower. And it helps to connect with having a lot of connectivity with respect to the ports and seaports and airports. It helps to integrate with the global supply chain and with the infrastructural support of um, industrial parks, infrastructure roads, and other facilities and common infrastructure facilities helps to having better cost incentives with respect to that product competitiveness with the availability of the raw materials and nearest to those things. The product competitiveness is the best, which is when it compared to the other products which has been manufactured across India, product competitiveness and which is product pricing will be the best thing. Capacity building. It has also when the policies are being drafted, not only to have an when the new technology is coming into picture, government of AP is giving an incentives with respect to the manpower which is being recruited to skill up their and to have their with respect to the employee readability. It also given supports with respect to distillation and marketing and decentralization of energy to have rural solar and solar rooftops kind of thing. There are in addition to separate policy incentives for each and every those thing kind of it. So why focus on MSMEs interest in Andhra Pradesh? It is a backbone of Andhra Pradesh where 7.4 lakh one MSMEs are employable, and employable is only 61. Employment is having a 61.9 lakh 98 lakh people as an MSME employees in Andhra Pradesh, which has high potential for job creation and innovation. And key to AP's growth and Make in India alignment. So it also all the incentives which has been given not only just for higher economy people, it also it tailored made in order to support the women, BC, minority, transgender, specially able. It also all these things. These incentives includes capital subsidies and power and land cost concession. They aim for level playing field for all the entrepreneurs, not only just single people. So these are the targets with respect to the policy to attract 50 lakh crores, 50,000 crores in manufacturing of our MSMEs, 22 lakh MSMEs. So earlier, 7 lakh, 7.4 lakh MSME. Now the target is to get into 22 lakh MSME, including both manufacturing and service sector to be formalized. Then like 5 lakh more employment, direct and indirect employment, double the exports, facilitate integration of 500 plus MSME champions in the global value chain, setting up of 5 specific sector excellence or technology centers, extension centers to address the technology manpower needs of the MSME. And it also set aside 500 crores during the policy to ensure the maximum utilization of the funds with respect to the MSMEs only. So what is the MSME policy? It says it has an 5 years validity from the date of notification, which is notified was approximately in the 2024 September, October kind of it. So there are many amendments that are coming in based on the feedback which is being received up, and the policy may be extended based on the government requirements applicable to the category. It also applicable to the new entrepreneurs and also it applicable to the existing entrepreneurs who would like to go for expansion purposes. So incentives. So what is the eligibility? We needed to call it an entrepreneur under MSME. You should fall under the MSME eligibility scheme, which is as per the central government notification. So you should have a Ujjog registration under MSME Act. That's it. These two are the things which are helps to identify you are eligible kind of it. So with basic thing, next, what are the incentives which are can be given? Maximum total investment cap of 75% of the fixed capital investment. So there is this is the upper cap with respect to the incentives which has been provided by the. That means in various categories of incentives which is given to the MSMEs, there might be having an incentives under skill development. You might be having incentives for fixed capital investment. You might be having incentives for raw material procurement. You might be having incentives for SGST reimbursement. You might be having incentives for clean power generation. You might be having in sustainability. There will be n number of incentives you might be tapping it up, but overall the cap of the incentive should not cross 75% of the total incentive, total invested value, fixed capital investment. That's the upper cap which has been given with respect to the MSMEs. This is exclusively for MSMEs, not for any other people. So incentive categories includes land and property related capital subsidy, operating costs, and other support mechanisms. So incentive and land, when it comes to the incentive, land and property incentives, when it comes to the stamp duty reimbursement. So for in order to start any business kind of it, we have to go and purchase any land. So for all these lands which is being purchased, all the stamp duties which is being procured, that will be reimbursed. That is being incurred will be reimbursed to all the MSMEs once per land parcel only. Then that means we procured 100 acres of 50 acres of land. We acquired 50 acres of land from for the stamp duty has been paid again after 5 years. We would like to acquire, that is not eligible. Once per land parcel only it is eligible. So land conversion charges, that is mean converting from agricultural land to industrial land. All the land conversion charges are 100% reimbursement. This is when the application has been approved, when the commercial production has been placed, all these charges will be reimbursed. Rebate on land cost. With respect to the land cost, which has been with respect to SC, ST, and micro and small in the APIC units, the lands which has been allocated, there are specific land banks which are allocated to them. The rates which are having up to 75% of the rebate, up to 25 lakhs as an having an upper cap limit with respect to the land cost with respect to SC, ST. That is for the new units only, for the new land. So incentive capacity for the new units. So in MSME normally it covers in Andhra Pradesh, it covers when the incentives are coming into, when we are discussing about it, covers only the manufacturing units only. So in discussion with respect to the, in general, 25% of the fixed capital investment, maximum of 25 lakhs is the incentive which has been given. That means if you are investing 1 crore rupees, government is ready to pay you back as a fixed capital investment. Government is ready to pay you back as a 25 lakhs as an 25% of the fixed capital incentive as an incentive with respect to the micro entrepreneurs. When it comes to the small, which is up to 1.5 crores. So what is this 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years is the government will pay you these incentives which has been awarded to you in the next 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years period. So, say for example, I'm a micro entrepreneur. I have been, as per the definition of micro, I applied for the, I have made an investment of 1 crore rupees and requested for a reimbursement of incentive subsidy, capital subsidy, where even though my fixed investment comes up, the upper cap is 25 lakhs. 25 lakhs will be paid equally in the next 2 equal installments in the next 2 years. Once from the date of commercial production of the invoice. This is with respect to the small 1.5 crores and with respect to the medium 7 crores. With respect to 4 years, and with respect to special and women categories, 45% of the fixed capital investment, it max 45 lakhs. So all the women, SC, ST, and backward class, they are giving inclusive development kind of it. Instead of 45 lakhs earlier, it is 4.5 crores. 1.5 crores in the normal terms, and when it comes to the SC, ST, BC, and women entrepreneurs, 4.5 crores. So all the women entrepreneurs are big time to get into the investment in Andhra Pradesh to tap these kind of incentives, which will be paid in the next 3 years. So there are SC, ST in transport sector with maximum 75 lakhs with respect to small scale entrepreneur, and if it is a medium scale, it is a 75 lakhs only. So it is for that. These are all for the new units. What about the technology existing units and expansion purposes? Yes, government is ready to give the technology for the. I'm having a machinery which is outdated. I would like to expand it up. Yes, government is ready to give the mission incentives with respect to the technology upgradation and expansion kind of it. So government 20% of the fixed capital incentive and max 20 lakhs is the period with respect to micro enterprises, and 20% is fixed capital incentive, and 2 crores is the max incentive which will be given to the small entrepreneurs, and medium entrepreneurs 5 crores. Same when it comes to the special category, women, SC, ST, and BC, 40 lakhs, 4 crores, and 5 crores, which is the incentives which has been awarded. So operating cost incentives and power SGST. So there is a power cost reimbursement of 1 rupee per unit, and with an annual cap of 1 lakh rupees and 5 lakh and 15 lakh. So when it comes to special category rate is 1.5 rupees per unit for 5 years. So if it is a micro or small or medium, the 1 rupee per unit is a rate for which they are giving the subsidy power cost reimbursement. But there is an upper cap of it, 1 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees, 15 lakhs rupees based on the categorization. So that will be paid for the next 5 years. That means if you are a small and micro entrepreneur, so if you are having an electricity bill, your maximum incentive with respect to the power cost reimbursement will be getting is 1 lakh rupees per 1 year, and next 5 years altogether it is a 5 lakh rupees. So net SGST reimbursement. This is nothing but the whatever the cash which is being paid. If you are MSME entrepreneur, if you are paying paid any cash, any of the your SGST output, any of your SGST output in cash, that cash amount which is being paid will be reimbursement to the from the government of AP to you. So what extent? 100% of the net SGST. That means you have to procure locally. You have to sell the products in the locally so as to get this incentive properly. Get the amount reimbursed. That means the consumption in Andhra Pradesh, if the consumption in Andhra Pradesh increase, then you will be able to get the net SGST reimbursement with respect to the state share which has been there, that will be reimbursed to you to the extent of 100% next 5 years from the date of the commercial production. And what about, yes, these are the funds which are being given, power cost which is being given. And what about the skill? Yes, you might be a new entrepreneur, you might be a new skill, you might be having an employee workforce. So in order to try in new sector where the employees might not be available, so it helps to under this policy, it helps to skill up the employees with a person of and with the amount of 5,000 rupees per person, max 10 people. And with respect to small, it is a 10,000 rupees per person with a max 20 people. Medium enterprise, 100% EPF contribution, max 1 lakh per year. So like this, there are skill upgradation costs which has been given with respect to the operating cost incentives. Energy and water audits. In order to have a sustainability and inclusiveness, energy and water audits has been given it up. This is one of the initiatives which has been given developed by Andhra Pradesh. So 75% of the audit cost which has been part of the energy audits and water audits, the pricing, the amount will be reimbursed. And equipment cost, if the 10% of the savings, 25% of the cap, investment, fixed capital investment, which is with respect to the savings with respect to energy and water saving equipment. The cost will also be reimbursement, which is having an upper cap of 20 lakhs, 40 lakhs, and 50 lakhs with respect to micro, small, and medium entrepreneurs. And these are all for the normal operational units and the new and upcoming units. What about the distressed units? Yes, if you are new distressed unit, which are you are a sick unit, yes, interest subsidy which has been given at up 6% up to the bank with respect to NBFCs with a cap of 2 lakhs per year for 3 years. Who are eligible? Sick and eligible MSMEs. Tax deferment. If you are having a tax notice, tax dues with respect to the sick incentives, sick and MSMEs, you are having a 3 years deferment of state tax and purchase and interest deferment with respect to the same thing with respect to interest on the taxes which is being levied, and revive on the revived sick units. Energy charges, 75% interest subsidy on the arrears with respect to the energy charges will be relieved maximum 5 lakhs and 3 lakhs per year or 3 lakhs per year. And it is having local procurement subsidy. In order to have a local procurement, local availability of the raw material, it is having a 1% of the expected total turnover, having a export turnover, whatever the exports which is being made, if the produce is being made locally, then the 1% of the total export turnover, not on it's on the export turnover, total sale value, 1% of the amount will be reimbursed to you for the exporting units for the with respect to selected sectors, but not for all the sectors. Quality certification, 100% top up to the GOA subsidy. Government of India is giving in, for example, 50,000 with respect to quality certification. Government of Andhra Pradesh will also be giving another 50,000 with respect to GOA with respect to quality certifications to that. So who are eligible? All the MSMEs which are forming part of it will be eligible. So business development credits, 2% growth of so SME stock exchange about this is one of the things the government is encouraging the entrepreneurships in Andhra Pradesh to get themselves listed in the stock exchange. So for which government is ready to give 25% of the cost which is incurred with respect to the SME stock exchange listing with having an upper cap of 5 lakh rupees as a benefit to the medium enterprises. Okay, so those are the specific incentives. And see, if we see the overall eligibility and kind of it's a, if it's a new SME, if it's a new, you are a new MSME, you'll be having a capital subsidy for SC/ST led units by APSC land cost rebates, existing MSME technology upgradation subsidies, special category higher capital and tech subsidy and power cost reimbursement, and SC/ST transport center capital subsidy. They're like this. If you based on the category, we are having a kind of incentives kind of it. So, who are ineligible parties with respect to and key limitations with respect to that? Entrepreneurs does not qualifying MSME who are not part of the Ujjam registered people are not part of the not eligible to have it up. Even though you are falling part of the definition of MSME, if you are not registered under Ujjam, then you are not eligible to claim any of this incentive. Units engaged in non-eligible activities outside the manufacturing and services as defined by the government of Andhra Pradesh. There are operational detailed guidelines which has been given up over there. So if you are conducting the businesses with respect to those manufacturing and services, non-eligible activities, then you will not be able to give an award with respect to incentives which is being provided. And structural limitations. Units formed by splitting or reconstructing existing business are not eligible for benefits meant for new units and startups. So capital subsidy, that means if you are a new entrepreneur which is formed by out of existing, you formed a new company, you are doing a splitting up of the activity, reconstructing of any existing company, any kind of activity which you made it, you are not eligible to have an with respect to claim those incentives. Capital subsidy and technology upgradation subsidy are mutually exclusive and cannot claim both for the same unit. Okay, category and specific limit business. So when it comes to the MSME, SME stocking, it is limited to only medium entrepreneurs only. So energy water subsidy, you cannot get it reimbursed for the lifelong. You are eligible to have it for the past 2 years only. For the with respect to 10% of the savings for the past 2 years. And there is an amendment with respect to the policy which has been issued around 2610. 17 to 25 propose to with respect to the government, which this why I made this amendment is why included as part of government is ready to take the feedbacks with respect to the policies. It also evaluates the needs and necessary of the entrepreneurs. Then it makes a inclusiveness with respect to the feedback based on this thing. So policy was issued and approximately initial policy was issued on 26/10/2024. Again, the policy got amended based on the 17 to 2025 based on the requirements and representation which is issued by multiple industrial associations. So in order to have a create a level playing field for all the entrepreneurs in the backward communities. So which are so when it comes to the with respect to the amendment policies, these are the new categorized rates which has been given it up. So if you see this power cost reimbursement for the 5 years for the date of commercial production, it is 1 rupee per unit, and micro and with a small cap for the small 1 rupee per unit, for the special category is 1.5 lakh. However, for the special categories, the upper cap is given, which is in line with the general categories itself. And the overall in the MSME policy, the Andhra Pradesh entrepreneurship policy reflects a progressive and inclusiveness approach to industrial development. In the recent amendments, undersourcing and a strong commitment to social equity. The policy not only strengthens an overall MSME ecosystem through incentives and infrastructure, but also the specific empowerment of the including SC/ST women, minority entrepreneurs through enhanced subsidies and target support with a robust administrative mechanism to have a clear roadmap with respect to implementation. The policy is positioned to drive inclusive growth, employment, regional development across the Andhra Pradesh. So with a lot of incentives are being happening, only thing, you have to come out with an idea and, then government is ready to support with all the kind of requirement. So other key policy, one of the key other policy with respect to the MSMEs in Andhra Pradesh is food processing. So food processing is because of the agri nature and other aspects which is part of the Andhra Pradesh, it helps to have promote value addition, reduce the wastage, and increase the exports. So because we all know of the food which is being grown because of the rain or because of the logistics or because of any other thing which has been happening, there is a lot of wastage which has been happening across. In order to reduce the wastage and increase the exports because of with respect to the existing infrastructure, logistic infrastructure, so the policy has been targeted to create, promote value addition with respect to all the goods which has been there and facilitate inclusive growth and rural employment. What is this rural employment? Where it is giving more kind of incentives for the where non underdeveloped areas which has been there, like most of the where Araku, where it is one of the undeveloped area where you can, if you are investing more and in that particular area, government more incentives which have been given with respect to those places. And also it also helps to strengthen the linkages between the farmers, processors, and markets, like constructing of the warehouses. There are multiple having food processing units. So, like there are multiple things which have been part of it. So here, what are the standard incentives with respect to food processing which have been given? So it is not for all the MSMEs which has been part of it. These are the standardized incentive which has been given. That is 75% of the fixed capital investment, including the land and buildings. Okay, so that and 100% stamp duty on again on the purchase of the land and transfer paid by the industry. 100% stamp duty with respect to the lease of land and shed and buildings and mortgage or hypothecation. If you are taking the lands on lease, all the stamp duties which is being paid with respect to the lease or hypothecation or mortgage, all these charges will be reimbursed by the government of AP. And if it is a land, agriculture land which has been procured and you are trying to convert into the industrial, again, all these land conversion charges and all will be reimbursed. So, what are the target sectors under this policy with respect to that? One is fruits and vegetables, because we are having a lot of abundant availability of raw material with respect to fruits and vegetables, dairy, meat, and poultry. Dairy, we are having a multiple tens and numbers of dairies with respect to in Chittoor districts. Meat and poultry. Andhra Pradesh is one of the largest exporter of eggs in India. And marine products, we have the shrimp production. One of the highest, India's highest shrimp production is made in Andhra Pradesh, made from Andhra Pradesh only. We have abundant availability of the raw water, and which helps to have a more availability of the grains and pulses, spices and condiments. And these policy targets to have measure of the investments in from below sectors. So again, when it comes to this incentives kind of it, so it also, in order to have a inclusive growth, in order government has added one more level of beneficiary, whether it's an FPOs or SSG self-help groups, which we call it as the worker in Andhra Pradesh. These federations, cooperative societies, they're specifically identified as a beneficiary apart from this micro, small, and medium entrepreneurship. So they are also be given incentives with respect to the food processing in Andhra Pradesh. So that means they would like to integrate all the self-help groups which has been part of the Government of India scheme to make it as an MSME with the help of food processing policy. In order to have what is the policy? The summary of these policies says, if you are primary processing, if you are setting up a primary processor unit, 20% of the fixed capital investment. See, there the fixed capital investment includes the land and building as well. So maximum 50 lakh as an investment, as an having an upper cap of 50 lakhs as an incentive, and that will be paid for that will be repaid from the 2 years from the generation of the first incentive disbursement over a period of next 2 years from the date of generation of the first tax invoice. So if it is secondary units, if it is 35% of the FCI, micro same 25 lakhs and 35 lakhs, small 1.5 crores and 3.5 crores, and medium 7 crores and 8 crores. 4 years from the generation of first taxable income. If you are an additional 10% will be given, that is, if it is a 25%, will be given 30% subsidy for women, BC, ST, specially able persons, and of local locality subject to maximum cap, whereas the cap will be limited with respect to 7 crores and 8 crores, whatever the cap which is being given, that cap will be as it is. With respect to existing, which is helpful for the expansion of the existing machinery, FP was 35% having a maximum of 3 crores, micro, and about 20% of the FCA and max 20 lakhs, small and for 1 crore, and medium it is maximum 5 crores. This is with respect to capital subsidy and waste processing, which is for the old and new. So in order to reduce the waste which has been generated from the industrial waste kind of it with respect to food processing. So government, if you are having specific incentives like recyclable, for example, you are planning to have a effluent treatment plant, if you are having any other common infrastructure facilities, or specifically to reduce the waste processing. So in that kind of specific equipment, if you are having a specific equipment plan trying to install such kind of investments over there, then you are having a special incentives with respect to those kind of things. So here the micro is maximum 25 lakhs, 2.5 crores and maximum 5 crores. With respect if it is an FPO or SHG or a federation, cooperative societies, maximum 2 crores is the incentive with respect to capital subsidy. So here again, if it is a medium, then it is a amount will be paid in the next 5 years. If it is whereas for FPOs and SHGs, that will be paid in the next 2 years itself. If it is an additional women SC ST, and then again the same 10% will be additional will be given in addition to this. So in addition to all these things, there is a separate setting up of an modern and meat processing units, animal feed units for all. This is helpful for the existing, see, in order to have an food processing, not only the vegetables kind of, and they will be having a meat arbitrators, other related things might also be requirement. So in these kind of scenarios, the incentives are given at maximum capped at 15 crores. That means if you are an FPO or SSG or federation, if you are trying to have a meat processing unit, then the maximum cap, which has been given is 50% of the fixed capital investment, which is having a maximum of 15 crores as an incentive which has been provided, which will be paid in the next 2 years. Micro, small, medium, there are multiple incentives which has been categorized over here itself. And yes, these are the for setting up of the laboratories and setting up of the incentives. Yes, what other support we are ready to give it to me? Yes. If we are planning to have food testing laboratories across the Andhra Pradesh in order to have your food tested, to have your quality to be tested across. If it the capital incentive, 35% of the fixed capital investment towards the machinery and civil, which is disbursed in the two equal annual installments. If you are having you might be having a food processing unit. Say we having Malavalli as one of the food processing unit. If you are setting up any national NABL food testing laboratories, then government will provide you an incentive with respect to the fixed capital incentive with respect to the machinery and civil construction, which has been there, which is having a maximum cap of 5 crores over there. And net SGST, 100% net SGST payable on the sale of products manufactured, sold of 5 years from the date of commercial production, capital 5% of the annual turnover. Here, even the net SGST, 100% net SGST, the 100% of the 5% of the net 5-year annual turnover will be given as a cap with respect to that. On top of these things, so if you are having an Minister of Food Processing Industries, so if you are having an agro processing cluster, 50% of the eligible project are to 1 crore. So, say for example, in respect to the central government agro processing cluster, government is ready to give me 70% of the central government is ready to give me 70% of the incentive, 70% of the as an grant with respect to the agro processing clusters. Government of AP is ready to give additional 15% in addition to the 70%. That means 85% of the agro processing cluster for all the cluster which has been made. 50, the additional top up will be given in addition to the central government facilities which has been given. So these are the, if it is a food safety and quality assurance, these are the things which has been provided over here. And energy and water audits. Here energy and water audits, it is there across all the policies where if it is a semiconductor, even a drone or whatever the policy it is there across all the places in order to have a sustainability kind of it. So micro, 75% of the audit cost, 25% of the where the water audit cap is 1 lakh, 70% of the audit cost, energy audit cap is 2 lakhs, and water audit cap is 1 lakh. And cost equipment to connect to save the water and other materials, the equipment cost which has been given over here. To the extent of it, the cost will be reimbursed. Power tariff reimbursement again. So 1 rupee per unit for 6 years, 1 rupee per maximum 1 lakh per annum for the next 1 rupee per unit for 6 years, 5 lakhs per annum, 1 rupee per unit for 6 years, 15 lakhs per annum. So other support includes, again, in the food processing also, we may not be having all the manpower in India, no one measure manpower might not be completely skill upgraded. So government is giving to upgrade the your selected team to the level of taking to provide the training over there to enhance themselves to the skills which has been required to meet up their industrial requirements. So if it's a micro enterprise, 5,000 per person, cap of 10%. These are all one-time kind of it. Small 10,000 per person, cap of 20%. Micro enterprise, it's a medium kind of it. 100% of the employer contribution to EPF, that is cap 1 lakh per annum for 3 years. Here, this is a one-time it, but it's a for 3 years, maximum 1 lakh, which will be provided with respect to the training. If it's a local procurement subsidy, 1 lakh per annum annual turnover for 3 years, capping up 15 lakhs. Small, 1 lakh of annual turnover for 3 years, capping of 1.5 crores, 1.5, 1 lakh, 1% of annual turnover for 3 years, with having up 7 crores. Other development and support, which includes having a agro processing clusters and having a financial support with respect to the cold chains, pack houses, ripening chambers, assistance in common facilities under the government of PMFME, PMKSY, reimbursement of certification costs, ISO certification, FSSA, BRC, AGMAR, export certification and barcoding, lab testing and equipment and support in clusters. If you are having an agri processing cluster, government will be supporting you with respect to lab testing equipments in order to have the product tested across. So this is with respect to the food processing policy. This is now we are getting into the Andhra Pradesh plug and play industrial infrastructure policy. So if we get into the policy, accelerate. So in order to have then, yes, I'm ready to buy the property. I'm ready to invest in the machinery. Whereas I'm not an expert in constructing the building and other aspects. So in this kind of scenario, plug and play policy, which helps to expedite the things. So it helps to construct the flatted factories. It helps to create ready to occupy industrial infrastructure with the pre-built infrastructure like factory sheds, utilities, and facilities to enable the industries to begin with the operations quickly. Yes, I have investment in hand. I would like to start the business immediately. Go and purchase it up. Come and plug in it. You start the business. That's it. So to that extent, you can that things will be made easy for you to start it up. So how what exactly it happens over there? So government of Andhra Pradesh are planning to have 175 MSME parks across Andhra Pradesh. So it is targeted to in Andhra Pradesh to have 175 parks. So approximately having one constituency, one MSME park, one industrial park with respect to that kind. They are having approximately 175 constituencies in Andhra Pradesh. So it is targeted to have 175 MSME parks across Andhra Pradesh. So whether it might be a logistics or it might be a food processing or it might be any other sector-based processing park, but in order to target to have it up, in order to have all these things, it will be having a ready-made. It can be not only the government with the government support. It can also have a private. It also involve the private sector with respect to build and operate the industrial parks. So we are having one of the largest operational park called Street City. You might be, if the people who are attending might be aware of this thing. So where they are having approximately 180 plus companies across the globe. So in the same way, the government is planning to have in private industrial parks. As on today's date, there are approximately 18 private industrial parks are active and are happening the business and where the business are operations. And in addition to this 18, government is targeted to have 175 parks, which might be a private participation. It can be a development mode. It can be or say like if I'm having a land of 100 acres or 60 acres kind of it, I can go to the government and ask for I'm ready to I'm having a 60 acres of land. Please permit us to go with the industrial park. Yes, government will permit you. Only thing you have to submit your plan and then you have to. It will allow you to have it will allow you to have an own ILA as well. It will allow you to have your own. It helps to have all the incentives which has been offered to all the including which are incentives which have been offered to APIs, the same kind of incentives been offered to you. So all these kind of structures have been available. So what will happen with respect to which having a lot of infrastructure coming into picture? It will have low entry barriers for MSME by reducing capital cost, setting up time and operational hurdles through shared infrastructure and facilities. So with the having a lot of MSME parks, I can where the actual availability of the lands available, where the lot of industrial parks are coming into picture. You can handle. It is easy for you to have a common shared infrastructure and the utilities with respect to that. Enhanced ease of doing business. So streamline approvals via industrial ILA and integrate with a single desk portal to provide the time-bound clearances. So majority of the government does not provide these time-bound clearances, whereas government of AP is providing you the time-bound clearances with respect to the approvals which are being provided. So ILA Industrial Area Local Authority. Uh, you can set up your own ILA in line with the government of Andhra Pradesh norms, kind of it, and you can have your approvals there, then and there itself inside. Suppose if you are having an industrial park in Tirupati, there is no need to come down to Vijayawada or Amravati for industrial department for each and every approval, kind of it. You can have your own ILA over there. You can get the local approvals then and there itself, and promote sector specific industrial clusters and supply chain linkages. For example, I'm having, if there is any anchored industry which is across. For example, in Andhra Pradesh, we are having a Kia Motors as a part of Anantapuram. In order to have an sector specific clusters, in order to have an ancillary unit in and across, it has allotted specific land in with respect to the automobile components suppliers in and around the Kia, in order to support the automobile manufacturing over there. In the same way, in order to have industrial clusters, it helps to it government is encouraging to have an industry specific clusters and supply chain linkages with respect to the to develop the ecosystem and synergy levels. Support sustainable infrastructure, encourage green building standards, energy efficient designs, and common effluent treatment plants to align with the climate goals. So yes, how MSMEs are getting benefited with respect to this kind of infrastructure. With the infrastructure subsidies which is being given, with the private participation is coming into picture. So government of AP is giving a capital subsidy for the infrastructure which is being provided. So if, with respect to 5 lakhs per acre as a capital subsidy for infrastructure for development of MSME parks, whereas the same will be passed on to the end users, MSMEs, with respect to the MSME parks, which will be the 5 lakhs will be disbursed across 5 phases of it. One is across once the approval of the project is been there, upfront incentives like land conversion cost, all these costs will be reimbursed. And once the 25% of the area developed and 15% of area is allotted, then 30% of the subsidy, 70% area is developed or 50% of area allotted, 20% of the subsidy. Fourth way is 100% area development, common facility center in place, 70% area development, then 20% of the subsidy, and 80% area allotted, 20% area operational, then 30% of the subsidy, final 30% of the subsidy. That means approximately 50% of the area, 50% of the subsidy is being disbursed within 3 phases. If the 50% of the area is allotted or 70% of the area is developed, and rest of the 50% will be provided only once the area has been allotted and construction operation things are under operational. Exemptions passed on to the MSMEs. So these park developers, private park developers, they will pass on this exemption, 100% exemption on the respect to conversion charges, agriculture, non-agriculture, change of the land, layout approval fees, stamp duty and registration fees to the MSMEs wherever the parks are being established. So with respect to the clusters which is being there, if you are having a group of clusters, group of MSME which is on the common objective, the 20% top up grant in addition to the central government MSC CDP support for for the projects between 5 crores to 20 crores will be provided by the government of Andhra Pradesh. So testing and quality certification labs, training centers, R&D and product development hubs will also be established. Fast track approvals and government clearances, single window clearances, these are all been provided. So this is one more area where subsidies are being provided with respect to the tourism policy. So tourism is area where we need to have lot of investment with respect to the land. That is one part of it, and after the infrastructure development is other part of it. But whereas in order to reduce the burden with respect to that, government is of Andhra Pradesh is offering an lands on a leased basis for the not a short-term lease. It is for a lease for a 33 years. If it is required, then it will be extended for the 33 years based on the project type. So say suppose like I would like to establish a resort of in a matter of 100 acres. There is no need for me to buy 100 acres. I can go and lease. I can go and ask for the government of Andhra Pradesh. It can give me the lease at 1% on the government rate as a lease rental for me with respect to the, it will allow the lands with respect to with respect for the construction of the projects. But whereas you have to go with the proper plan, there are certain there is a land allotment policy will also be, which has been guided. There is a separate committee which is formed by the government of AP. The government of AP will based on your proposals, the same will be allotted to you. So lease rentals may be subsidized or offered at 1% of the register value. A special window clearance to MSMEs to apply under earmark land parcels in the tourism zones. 100% of the, again, for all these lease construction, lease developments and other part of it, reimbursement of stamp duty or paid or lease deed execution, land allotment agreement or for tourism and MSMEs will be reimbursed. And MSMEs are eligible to for power tariff reimbursement for 1 lakh per 1 rupee per unit consumed for up to 5 years from the start of operations. Tourism can avail interest subsidy 5% on per annum on term loans taken for eligible capital investment. That means for the tourism as a sector, government is giving, in order to encourage the tourism, government is giving interest subvention with respect to the loans which are obtained for the tourism purposes. Subsidy is capped at 25 lakh per unit for a maximum period of 5 years. 100% reimbursement of expenses incurred in obtaining a nationalized certification, ISO certification, HACCP tourism certification, sustainability and quality certifications, and whether it's a national or international certifications. 50% reimbursement of the employer contribution, EPF, and for the new employment generated, subject to maximum of 1,000 per employee per month. 75% of the training cost reimbursement for skill development programs to staff up to a limit of 5,000 per employee. So these are there are, in addition to all these things, there are many other incentives which have been provided up, but because of the time constraints, I'm not be able to spell it over here because of it. So in addition to this, let's go into the other, one of the keys actor is textile, apparel and garment policy. So when it comes to the capital, again, all the policy, if you see, whatever the policy you take it, government is ready to give you fixed capital incentive as an subsidy or grant with respect to the investments which are being made. So up to 25 lakhs, 20% of the fixed capital investment capped, up to 50 lakhs with respect to micro and small enterprises. Micro and medium entrepreneurs, up to 20% of the fixed capital invest capped at 1 crore. Additional 5% for the entrepreneurs owned by women, SC, ST. Earlier it was 10%. Now in this kind of category, it is 5% with respect when it comes to the textile category. So SC, ST, BC minorities, different label and locally categorized, located in category C, low industrialized mandals. Technology upgrade. If it is earlier it is a 25% of the technology upgradation cost. Now it is 15% subsidy on the cost of eligible machinery equipment under the modernization of clean tech adoption, which is maximum limit of 20 lakh per unit. And again, here also 100% reimbursement of stamp duty paid on land purchase, lease, conversion charges, and other with respect to the charges which is being incurred. So again, here also the same power cost reimbursement came into picture. Earlier it is 1 rupee per unit, which has been capped for with 1 lakh rupees for all the MSME units in other incentives. Whereas when it comes to the industry textiles, where it is mostly concentrated on the power, dependent on power, it is given as a 2 rupees per unit as the annual cap of micro 2 lakhs, for a small of 10 lakhs and medium of 30 lakhs for 5 years. 50% exemption on electricity duty for 5 years from the for DCP for MSMEs. Skill development cost 70% of the reimbursement of the training cost, and which is capped at 10 lakhs per 10,000 per employee, 5 lakhs per unit per year for 3 years. 5% interest subsidy for a period of 5 years on term loan. Here also interest subsidy is given, minimum with a maximum cap of 25 lakhs per unit for micro and small, and 50 lakhs per unit for medium enterprises. So these are the policies where the key policies over there. And apart from that, there are other MSME policies, there are other incentives in the other policies as well. So let's have a brief view on each and every policy over there, where we will be able to cover majority of the points over there on a higher scale, on a overview. So semiconductor and display fab policy. Here, the power subsidy is given as 3 rupees per unit for a period of 5 years post date of the commercial production. These are the eligible for all the eligible products. I mean, the semiconductor and display fab policy includes the manufacturing of mobiles, assembling of TVs, and other aspects. So, all these things which are been who are the eligible products which has been listed down, they will be having a power subsidy of 3 rupees per unit, which are having upper cap details as well. And applicant fiscal the equal to fiscal support provided by government of ISM disbursed to pari passu basis of the ISM release its share. Eligible project incentives applicable for product categories listed in the ISM. This is with respect to the drone policy 2024-29 incentives. So individuals undertaking training, that means if there is a person who would like to get trained with respect to the drone technology, certified remote pilot or technician in order to have the drone operations, it is 2,000 per training, one-time training incentive in addition to the government of schemes like PMKVY and NSDC. Suppose government of India is providing 5,000 rupees as an incentive with respect to the drone training. Government of AP is giving additional of 2,000 rupees in addition to the 5,000 rupees as an incentive with respect to the for in order to have that training with respect to that. Organizational training, 10 plus individuals and for the unmanned operations. That is with respect to 5,000 per trainee as a training incentive grant. Applicants for international exhibition participation. So if we are having a proof of concept and you would like to have an international participation with respect to that, up to 1.5 lakhs of the cost reimbursement, and which has been given and enterprise with identified sectors, 100% exemption with respect to 100 change of land use kind of 100% exemption with respect to stamp duty, registration charges. If you are trying to have a drone manufacturing unit and other respect to the other kind of activities which are related to that. And if you are you don't want to buy any land, you want to take it on the land, 50% of the reduction of the land lease rate for the first 3 years in order to get the things under operation. Then only you can, whatever once the things are being planned, you can streamline, you will be able to pay the lease rental kind of it. The local procurement, 50% of the state government drone related acquisitions to be from the local producers only. And encouragement through unspecified fiscal incentives for the acquisition of the local producer drones and the services. So here, when it comes to the maritime policy, sustainable development projects, fiscal incentives has been given. Manufacturing of plant, solar, wind and power, capital subsidy of 25% of the fixed capital incentives. This electronic manufacturing clusters, here also the upper cap of all the incentives which has been capped is 75% of the fixed capital incentive in line with the AP Industrial Development Policy 4.0. That is with respect to large and other investment activities over there. Here also the power subsidy is 3 rupees per unit for 5 years post commercial production. How the unit they have to make the self competition and APS, they can submit their incentive over there. Government will verify it and they can give the reimbursement kind of it. So Andhra Pradesh integrated clean energy policy eligible for all the incentives with respect to both state GOI central government schemes, which is total fixed capital incentives, claims that will be filed separate. Manufacturing units, multiple subsidies based on the technology, concessional land leases. Suppose if you are having an solar if you are trying to establish an solar panel manufacturing unit in Andhra Pradesh, you don't want to buy a land. Yes, government will give you a concessional lease land rates of 10,000 per acre, 15,000 per acre for a period of 15 years, 33 years kind of it, so that which is having a incremental clauses over there to get the project cost implementation, project cost implemented at a lower value, lower fixed capital investment. So, and in addition to all these things, with respect to battery manufacturers, it is having a stamp duty waiver, capital subsidies for all, power cost, electricity duty, open access, wheeling and transmission charges, energy banking subsidies as applicable with respect to type of industry and other kind of aspects, and SGST subsidies like reimbursement, net SGST reimbursement will also be provided over there, and water and other utility subsidies which are also being provided with respect to the manufacturing projects in Indian clean energy policies. Eligible enterprises based on the plant and machinery as per the eligibility application. Net SGST reimbursement on the goods produced and sold by the incentive holder based on the SGST, GST or 3B. SGST paid by ITC or net cash will be paid is considered with respect to the net SGST reimbursement. So, if you can go through that, well, there will be another 10, 5 or 10 policy which more or less having all these kind of incentives like power cost reimbursement, eligibility net GST reimbursement, and reimbursement of land lease cost, stamp duty reimbursement, power cost or power audits, audit cost reimbursement. Measure of the things are the like this only. So with all these things having the base, government of India, government of Andhra Pradesh is trying to have the concept of speed of doing business for the next 5 years to have the activity to be in a faster mode. So it has dedicated an investment facilitation cell EDB over there. It also helps to licensing officers to provide a personalized support. Say instead of going into the each and every person, you can approach to the EDB team. They will help you to sort it out each and every kind of support with respect to that. Where if you are stuck up in some place, government they are ready to support in each and every aspects over there. So it also keep investors informed about the progress and the pending pre-acquisitions. Focus reduced investor coordinates and hassles and speed up of the approvals. Assistance for the foreign. Andhra Pradesh is preferred as a preferred foreign investment where world class infrastructure, state of art, skill development, human capital. So facilitate investors with the best spokesperson, local information and business opportunities. Comprehensive portal providing investment related information that the services are available. So key approach for the speed of doing business is to provide an essential for industrial advancement and economic growth and foreign investment. It also promotes an predictable, non-discriminatory regime. So that means every entrepreneur which come up, there should not be a non-discriminatory between each and every entrepreneur kind of it. So enhance the ease of operations and foster industrial growth. These are the main objectives where it is being covered it up. And there is a one-stop platform for obtaining all the clearance, whether it's a pollution control or any labor or any other kind of all the clearances will be cleared from the single platform only. It covers 93% regulatory clearances from 19 departments. So not only one, two, approximately 93 regulatory clearances from 19 departments, whether it's a pre-established approvals or pre-operation approvals or the renewals kind of it with a single desk portal itself. So it's an online payment and status tracking mechanism for each of your application which has been posted over that you can check it up on the online itself with your individual logins. So with all these things, government of Andhra Pradesh is planning to have strengthen the MSMEs and entrepreneurs with their infrastructure support, MSME parks like 175 plus MSME parks, and at least development a separate MSME policy kind of it. It also supports the financial support with giving. Suppose it also having credit guarantees, financial support with in addition to the central government supports in the credit guarantee. Suppose government of central government is providing me 70% as a credit coverage in the central government credit guarantee. Government of Andhra Pradesh is providing additional top up on the credit guarantee schemes which is being provided over there from the own purpose of funds of 500 crores which is being provided over there. So more or less it will enhances the government bankers to have provide better financial terms, better financial loans to the entrepreneurs if you are establishing based out of Andhra Pradesh. So at the overall, by looking at these policies, government is trying to intervene in a couple of 4 or 5 interventions to make the cost to help the reduce the cost of production as a whole by having the infrastructure facilities as a main idea. So, as we discussed in the earlier initial parts of this presentation, to reduce the cost of production and to improve the speed of business enterprises, this is one of the policy mottos to have this. There are the 5 key interventions which the government of Andhra Pradesh has targeted to have this reduction in the cost of production by way of multiple industrial aspects. One is that land consolidation and industrial corridors to have an um, better existing infrastructure and utilities. So, Government of Andhra Pradesh has launched the private industrial parks policy and the PPP development models, fast track, time bound infrastructure, and seamless port hinterland connectivity. So, that is one part of intervention. This helps to have the transportation costs. If you have established any unity, if you are an export hub, if you are an export manufacturing, if you are establishing it across near to any of the port which are having the where the hindered land is been developed as a industrial land, then the cost might be less. The transportation, again, the storage cost might not be much as compared to any other units we are established far away from the port. Okay, the goal and second intervention is external infrastructure like power, water, roads. So having a highway connect high quality of roads, water, having surplus amount of water and surplus amount of power infrastructure in industrial parks, which is focused, which can we can is happily focus on the reliable utilities and support efficient manufacturing operations, which is ensuring the long term cost efficiency and the enterprises with respect to that. And the other third intervention is having an efficiency in the logistic infrastructure which emphasis on the inland waterways. Say, Andhra Pradesh is one of the a leading state and state policy maker where if there is a new incentives, new policy which are coming to be, it is there. Yes, sir, we are ready to tap it up. We are ready to tie it up. So in this model, Andhra Pradesh is trying to emphasis on the inland waterways and coastal transportation by linking up the Krishna Godavari rivers and as a national waterway 4, there are approved two dedicated freight corridors which is going across the Andhra Pradesh and to have a port-based value addition logistics hubs. And it also promotes a mega fulfillment centers for the raw material inventory and the distribution. And the intervention 4 is rationalization of the power and water tariffs, layout building permission charges, stable, predictable cost regime, interdepartmental coordination of equilibrium of tariff structure. With all these things, it is best to coming down to Andhra Pradesh and investment in the Andhra. So in addition to all these things, the other part which has been left out is intervention of skill workforce and labor connectivity with the planned skill census and with IT with the industrial collaboration, PPP led modernization of ITA in industry, support of industrial housing near parks, work to work environments and worker retention and well being things are happening. So it is one of the best areas where skilled workforce and labor productivity can be happening. So, any questions apart from this?
Sir, we have a few questions.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I'll send you on WhatsApp one by one. If you will finish that session. I think you have already finished the session, right, sir?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. I'm just sending you the question one by one.
The first question which came up to me, clients are doing services to the government of organizations and lots of monies are due from the AP government to our MSME clients. What are the options available? Sir, you can go to MSME Samban. So there is an MSME support teams which are available in the local industries department over there to fight it across. And I when I'm serving as a for some couple of my clients, I'm also part of the government for a couple of industries where departments are sending it up notices. Other clients are sending up the notices to the with respect to the MSME dues which is being paid. But apart from all these things, government of AP is trying to clear all the dues for the MSME on a priority basis. It also has, I mean, recently with the latest, I mean, couple of days back, it got the notification done with respect to getting their government enterprises listed with the TREDS portal, so that you can discount your bills with respect to the TREDS portal. Government entities which are having a large having of more than 250 crores, which is as per the Government of India norms, will be listed all these government of Andhra Pradesh entities with respect to the uh, portal, and you can discount all your bills through TREDS portal itself. So I can share you the notification as well. That is the easier way to get the, if your once your bills are being cleared, if your bills has been approved, only if you are waiting only for the fund clearance, then this is the best way to get it done, sir. The other question is, does the policy offer reimbursement on the interest on the for term loan? Yes, there are multiple policies, but not for each and every policy says it. There are multiple policies. One is a textile policy, another is a tourism policy. There are multiple policies where offers a reimbursement of term loan interest, not to the complete level, to the extent of 5% or 6%, depending upon the policy, sir. If you are want anything with respect to the specific policy, you can write it down to me. I can respond over there. I can check it out and respond, sir. Power tariff subsidy under policy. Power tariff subsidy is power cost reimbursement, sir. Basically, so say for example, I'm a commercial unit. I'm paying 6 rupees. I'm a production manufacturing unit. I'm paying 6 rupees per unit as an electricity cost per unit. Whereas government of AP is, if you are a new entrepreneur, which falls under, if you are new entrepreneur, existing entrepreneur, which falls under category of eligibility, kind of it, then with respect to that, you are eligible to claim that power cost subsidy of 1 rupee per unit for next 5 years, having with respect to the upper cap based on the classification, sir. One of my client, the next question is, one of my client is in the export of food products, fruits, spices, etc. Is there any MSME schemes applicable to him? Yes, sir. There are, if you for packing and establishment kind of it, so there for food processing and kind of it, there are many schemes. Are if fruits. One of my client is in the export of food products. Whether it's a trade, if it's a manufacturing entity, then definitely schemes are available, sir. If it is an export specifically, like trading kind of it, then I have to see it. Look into that specific aspect, sir. Are there incentives for women? Yes. Incentives are there as a part of policy. In all the policies, special additional incentives have been provided for the women-led enterprises in Andhra Pradesh for women. That means if incentive is being provided for say 20 rupees for a person, if a man entrepreneur, women's are being provided 30 rupees as an additional that 10 rupees is been provided as an additional incentive to the women entrepreneur. That means always additional incentive is being provided to the women-led enterprises. What is the reimbursement of limit of SGST estate under this policy? Under the which policy, sir? So 100% SGST reimbursement. That is, sir, please note it down. SGST reimbursement which is being paid, which has to be paid in cash, not through credit. If anything which is being paid in credit, you may not be able to get back the reimbursement. If it is being paid in the cash, then only you will be getting as a reimbursement. And the other one is, does the 100% reimbursement, there is no limit, as it is up to in one policy it is given it as up to 5% of the annual turnover, but most of the other policies there is no upper cap in it. But we have to, if you are so specific about that, help me out with the exact policy over there, so that I can able to share if there is an incentive. I can write it on my email ID. If you have anything over there, you can write it on to the email ID. I can respond to that with respect to each and every policy. And does the MSME policy provide land and concession rates in the industrial parks? Sir, MSME policy provides, yes, sir, lands it provides at industrial parks with respect only for the certain sectors. But if it is an normally the land cost with respect to the MSME policy is for each and everyone is one and the same. However, for SC, ST and differently abled and other people, where there are separate lands are being identified and it is being given at the concessional rates, but not for each and everyone. But however, based on the policy, based on the policy, based on the type of investment which are being made, you might be given option for on the lease basis as well. Say for example, I'm being an MSME, I would like to construct an tourism project over there. Even though I'm an MSME, if I'm doing tourism project where the tourism project is beneficial to me, there is no need for me to get into the tourism MSME parks over there. I can have the tourism lands on a lease rental basis, which is a best cheaper cost for me. If I'm doing a data center or IT or some other kind of, there also lease rentals are cheaper. If I'm going for the solar panel manufacturing or any renewable energy item manufacturing, any product manufacturing, then also I can opt for the lease rentals. It all depends upon the policy on which you are trying to update get the lease rent on the. Always no need to go and buy the land at a concessional rate, sir. Always that things will not work it out. How does the policy support MSME working capital requirement of MSMEs? The policy nowhere mentioned about the working capital aspects over there, sir. But however, it is giving an additional comfort with respect to the loans like CGTMS, CPMEGP, where we get this when we are doing the project financing and with project financing activities. Government is providing incentive or top up in addition to this. So it will give us a additional comfort with respect to the activities which is given by the central government and additional comfort with respect to that. So that will help us to bankers to have an additional support, additional comfort with respect for sanctioning the loans. And how does the policy support another thing? Are there any provisions for technology upgradation and innovation support? Yes, sir. There are multiple provisions over there that is been discussed across already. You want procedures to apply to this MSME scheme, sir. Sir, for all these policies, only APISC's website portal is the only where we can all the schemes which has been mentioned over the APISC portal. That's where AP Industries portal. These two are leading. All the portals have been integrated to that portal. From there only, all the approvals is being made, sir. So these are the only places where we have to apply for these things. There are operational guidelines which has been mentioned it up in the portals are all the policies which have been mentioned. If you are having any specific respect, say for example, textile policy, there might be a separate portal which might be there. So for all the for each and every portal, being an MSME, if my textile policy is being beneficial to me, I would like to go ahead with the textile policy instead of MSME. So I'm not only if I'm MSME does not only mean that I'll be able to with respect to the MSME, I'm eligible to apply with the other aspects as well. So we are before applying or choosing up any policy, better to opt for which policy we are trying to identify the policy and zero down under which policy which is being beneficial to you and calculate and check out the upper cap limits which is being mentioned it over there. Based on these limits, you can plan for the further process. For each and every policy, there are the operational guidelines which has been issued it up. There is a committee which has been constituted for process all these schemes and approvals. Say, for example, for the in the example of tourism policy itself, I would like to apply for a land of 30 acres with respect to the construction of resort, beautiful resort. There is an certain team which who sits over there and who verifies those things. So for each and every policy, even though I'm an MSME, the policy matters. Each and every person will be defined, and every committee will be defined. So it may not be able to populate all the 17 policies teams over here to set it up. Whereas if you go to the APIC website, you can able to see it up, and geo.ir.ap, you are also able to download all the operational guidelines. Or if you want any specific policy operational guidelines and a specific committee, you can reach out to me over there, sir. I can support you with respect to the committee details and contact details as well, sir. So any other questions, sir?
No, sir, we don't have any other question. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tech Support team.
So can we end that session?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm ending the session.
Yes, yes. Just Tech Support. Yes, sir, we can end it. Yes, yes, yes. Sure.